Hello and welcome to Real Watchers Movie Club. My name is Garrett.
And I'm Kevin.
And we are your hosts. Movie Club is the show where we pick a movie every week, just like a book club, and talk about it. On today's show, we are covering the classic thriller Psycho. Our thoughts and more coming up on Movie Club. Released in 1960, Psycho was directed by Alfred Hitchcock and stars Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, and Vera Miles. A Phoenix secretary embezzles $40,000 from her employer's client, goes on the run, and checks into a remote motel run by a young man under the domination of his mother. It is currently ranked 34 on IMDb's Top 250 and currently has a 4.3 out of 5 on Letterboxd and is ranked number 92 on its Top 250. It was nominated for 4 Oscars for Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Supporting Actress for Janet Leigh, and Best Director. Before we dive into our thoughts, though, we do want to issue a spoiler warning for the film. It has been nearly, 60 years since this movie came out, but we will be discussing plot points, twists, turns, all that wonderful stuff coming up on the show. So if you haven't seen the film yet, go ahead and pause it here, go watch the film. You won't offend us, it's fine. And then come on back here to discuss it with us. Stay tuned to the end of the show to find out what movie we'll be covering next week, so you're ahead of the game. Alrighty, Kevin, so this week we got a big one, Psycho. We're getting obviously close to the spooky season. This is going to be kind of our Halloween episode of sorts, because we did The Exorcist a little early, I think. But we're here with Psycho to talk about it. Was this your first time watching the movie? Have you seen it before? What's going on?
I've seen it multiple times, so this was just like a little fast forward to review the mind, pretty much. I took a look at some pictures and I was like, yep, okay, I know what happens here, but it's a frequent watch over at our house during Halloween, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and this is a film that I had seen many times in film classes in high school and in college, and had rewatched recently and loved this film. I mean, it's probably one of, if not Hitchcock's best film, or at least in his top 3. And is, like, for its time, a truly surprising movie. Mm-hmm. As we'll get into when we talk a little bit more about the plot of the film. But I guess, actually that's probably a good place to start it off. The immediate twist this film makes toward the beginning. I believe it was Janet Leigh. I got to double check. So yeah, I mean, Janet Leigh being the top billed actress for this film, a lot of people thinking she's going to be the main star of the film, if not the main female lead. And she's dead in the first act. Mm-hmm. Like, that surprise, that was quite the shocker back in 1960, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird how she gets killed off in the first act, which I would like to see her through maybe half of the second act to maybe go a little bit more on her character. But I like how it kind of fakes you out like she's the main character, but it's actually Anthony Perkins' character is the main character of this movie.
Yes, I mean, obviously Norman Bates is the star of this film in more ways than one, probably because he also plays his mother at one point. Also, like, a brilliant performance. I'm kind of surprised that Janet Leigh got the Oscar nomination and not Anthony Perkins for this. Mm-hmm. I think Anthony Perkins has given one of the best serial killer slasher performances, and one of the best performances in any Hitchcock film, and gave us one of the most memorable villains of all time.
I mean, people still know of Anthony Perkins' Psycho because of how good this movie is and how suspenseful and thriller it is.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he had to go and star in like Psycho 2 and Psycho 3 and direct one of the sequels, and unfortunately, that was a mistake that probably shouldn't have happened. But he leaves his mark on this film, though.
I heard Psycho 2 is actually pretty good.
I don't know anything about Psycho 2. I think he directed the third one, though. So I could be wrong on that, and I'm sure I'll get called out in the comments below. But hey, I can get something wrong every once in a while. But yeah, Anthony Perkins, great in this film, and then just every reveal about his character is fantastic. From the first moments where he's talking with Janet Leigh in the office, and all the way till the very end of the film when he's just sitting in that hallway and is looking super menacing, is just a fantastic performance through and through, and is absolutely the anchor of why this film is so good in the way that it is.
Oh yeah, I mean he's such a suspenseful actor, and he plays this role to a T. He shows no emotions as well in while he plays this character, except for the emotions that he wants to be shown. Or and he's just a basically a boy living out in the middle of nowhere with his mom and doesn't get to see a lot of people. So it's kind of like a social anxiety type of thing too. He doesn't know how to approach a woman or a a person or anything like that.
And then obviously there's a whole kind of thing where his mom doesn't want him to be with anyone. So, which plays really into, like, obviously big twist for the film is that he also is his mother. It's kind of like a split personality thing. And so, like, you know, he's obviously kind of interested in Janet Leigh in the beginning of this movie. And, you know, his mother is telling him no women, no, you know, don't get into them or whatever. So it's really an interesting kind of dichotomy going on in his head, right? Of like, does he want to be with someone? Does he not want to be with someone? It's a really interesting way to do it. And then also props to this film for not taking the easy route and just having him find the money.
Yeah, true.
Like,
very true. And I liked how that was like kind of a second, like, not mission, but like second thing that's always stuck in the back of your mind. It's like, what's gonna happen with the money? And then nothing really happens with the money, right?
No, it just kind of fades out. I think
Yeah.
it goes down with the car.
Yeah, it probably does because it's in the glove box or something like that. But no, it's in the paper. She puts it inside of the hotel.
And then I thought he finds that newspaper and puts it with her body in the car.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I could be wrong on that. That's gonna look really bad.
Yeah,
we got that wrong. But yeah, like, could have done something with the money. Nope. Just throws it with the body. And also, props to Norman for having a swamp behind his little
yeah, how convenient is that?
You can just throw the car in and ditch all the evidence. Like, I mean, that's the first place I would look if I was a detective. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, to be fair, like, no detectives coming around there anyway.
Yeah, but even the detective was very suspicious. Like, in the first part of this movie, it's not the detective, but when she's getting chased by the policeman, and like she's always following her, and it's like, does he know what's going on? But then nothing comes of that, which is weird. So it's kind of weird how he was like a stalker to her as well.
Kind of building up her mistrust, right? She's obviously got the guilt already. She's got, you know, she's looking over her shoulder because the amount of money she's stolen, $40,000, was a lot of money back in 1960. So, you know, she's getting away with something pretty large. So, and she's, you know, went out and bought a whole new car and everything. So, just it raises some red flags for some people. So it's honest. It's, you know, also she was asleep in her car. You know, any police officer should stop to anyone asleep in their car and make sure they're okay.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
And at the very least, most likely, is probably just keeping an eye on her and making sure she's okay. Like, you know, but again, we see it as so malicious because that's how she sees it, and it's a very well done bit of perspective through the film.
Yeah, the perspective in this film is very, you feel like you are the character, even though someone else is playing it for you.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where the next kind of big topic is the cinematography of this film. This film was shot beautifully for 1960. I mean, think of the private investigator on the stairs, brilliantly shot, but also the shower sequence. Like, that is just as frenetic and chaotic. It's a classic sequence, but the camera work is so frenetic and chaotic because that's how that moment is. Exactly. You know, every shot where it's just people talking is, you know, mid focus. I forget the exact name of the camera movement right now, but like, you know, it's longer takes, and then you get to something a little bit more violent, and it's more quickly taken, and just it's brilliant. And that's why obviously I got the nomination for best cinematography. And that's because the camera is telling just as much of the story as the story itself is.
Well, I think the cameraman or the director, Alfred, wants you to be a part of the character and making sure that you know how much of a situation she is in. and how much suspense she's in, and always looking over her shoulder and stuff like that.
And how much of a situation that anyone's in this film. Like, it's not just Janet Leigh or her sister, right? It's pretty much everyone that goes to the Bates Motel. Even Norman has some kind of cinematography on him occasionally where you feel like he's in some kind of situation. Absolutely brilliant from top to bottom. Obviously, shower sequence wouldn't be the same without the music.
Yep. Nope.
Iconic film score piece. The rest of the music for this film is also pretty brilliant too, at explaining through sound what's going on, thematically, and what's going on, I could say emotionally, I guess. Just some brilliant work done. Alfred Hitchcock really knows how to choose who he's working with and what he's working with, because it just really works.
Yeah, I mean, this whole movie is put together so it looks so effortlessly to do, because everything just goes from 1 to 2 to 3 and never skips a beat.
Yeah, this movie never feels long either. It's let me get the exact length here. I want to say it's
hour and 49 minutes.
Is it an hour 49? Oh my gosh, why does hour 49? Yep. Hey, you nailed it. Yeah, it never feels short, and it never feels long. It feels like it's the perfect length for the story it's trying to tell. And,
exactly.
I mean, I'm never really going to fault a movie for being long. I'll fault a movie for feeling too long. But this movie feels perfect. Again, perfect length. Of course, there's maybe a scene or two where things go on a little too long. Maybe there's a scene or two you could cut, but that's getting really nitpicky.
I mean, a scene? What scene? Like her
Again,
working
I can't think of it.
Her working at the bank? No, that because she steals the money from the bank that she works at. So there's always something that is there for you to see, pretty much.
Exactly. It's hard with a movie like this to say what would you cut, right? There's really nothing.
No.
So, and from then on, it's just a pretty flawless. I'm not gonna say it's flawless. A pretty near flawlessly executed horror film, and I will call this a movie a horror movie. There's not a lot of horror films from the '60s and kind of earlier. This was before Night of the Living Dead or anything like that. Horror was not really a mainstay. You had sci-fi films and you had some Ed Wood type stuff, but this was a well-renowned director making something a little bit more horror skewed than had come out before. So
exactly.
It was pretty incredible for its time, and you can definitely see the inspirations that this film may have caused in others, right? Like in Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, you can see bits and pieces of this movie in those.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can talk about the score in the movie, with Texas Chainsaw and Halloween, how the score just effortlessly gets put in there like it's supposed to be in there, just like this movie as well.
Yeah, and it puts you on the edge of your seat, like that almost fingernaily scratching kind of noise, the shower sequence, like the high shrieking violin notes is like fingers on a chalkboard. It's supposed to sound not good.
Not pleasant. Yeah,
you're getting stabbed.
Exactly.
If I ever get stabbed, I hope I don't. But if I ever get stabbed, I'll probably be hearing that in my head. I'll be getting held up somewhere, and all of a sudden it's just like ree inside my head. It's not gonna feel good.
No.
And that's really music illustrating feeling very well.
Oh yeah.
The only other movie that does it anywhere near that is probably Jaws.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's really, we'll talk about Jaws, I'm sure, at some point on this show. But that's like the heartbeat in your ears, which is it's fantastic. So, alrighty. So, I mean, obviously, we both really like this movie, and this movie's been talked to death about, and this movie is just really good. You should watch it. But there is one fun fact that I learned about this movie that I got to share with you because it's kind of ridiculous. So everyone kind of knows, the blood in the shower sequence, that's actually chocolate sauce or chocolate syrup or whatever. But did you know that Psycho is the first American film shown in the United States to feature the sound and visual of a toilet flushing?
Yep. I did know that one, actually.
Weird that it was the first film to do that.
Doesn't make sense. It's like, why would some directors not want to show a toilet or how it flushes or how it sounds either.
Yeah, I guess mostly because the image of a toilet was very uncommon during the time of the film. The first toilet flush on television wasn't heard until 1971. So it was kind of Hitchcock's way of helping break free of censorship.
Okay.
Partially that, and then also showing Janet Leigh in the shower, mostly naked. I mean, you never see anything of her, but like, it's probably the most nudity people had seen in a film for a while. That was like a major release. So yeah, it was kind of just a middle finger to censorship and like the Hays Code and all that at the time, which was kind of bullshit, let's be honest. But just a fun fact about the film that a lot of people never really seem to remember it, except for you, which is good.
As soon as you started saying it, I was like, oh, I know exactly what he's going to talk about, actually.
Oh yeah, it's a toilet. That's the thing.
It's the toilet fun fact.
It's
Fun
the
facts
toilet
of
thing.
toilets.
But that being said, sounds like we both really like this movie. But what did you rate it, and what was your final thoughts?
So my final thoughts are: if you are looking for a good Hitchcock movie, but you're scared about going down that road, Psycho is the best place to go. Very visually appealing, and the movie just is nonstop fun. You will want to revisit it almost every single year, like I have. And I gave it 5 stars out of 5. So probably out of 100, I'm probably gonna give it like a 96.
Okay. So 5 stars from Kevin, and 96 out of 100 is his score. I ultimately gave the film a 98. We were very close. And I give it a 4.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd, because that's how it works out. I feel like to earn a 5 stars, you have to be a 100 film, which isn't very common. But yeah, I love this film. It's pretty much flawlessly executed across the board. There are nitpicks, sure, that I have every once in a while. I'm going to have nitpicks with a lot of movies, but nothing really worth mentioning or talking about that really drastically affects the score for this film. It's a fantastic film. If you're needing something to watch on Halloween but don't want something that's too scary, Psycho is a great bet. It's also just a well-told film, and again, like I said, pretty much flawlessly executed. So if you're looking for not only a good flick that has some scares in it, but something that can also challenge and kind of get you a little bit more into the analysis of film, this is a great one to watch. So couldn't recommend it more highly. So the question now falls to you. What did you think of Psycho? Make sure to leave your comments in the section down below, but remember to be respectful of one another down there. We will be watching. Next week, we'll be covering the classic Western, and one that I'm so excited for, Once Upon a Time in the West. So if you want to make sure you watch it before next week, make sure you do, so that way you're not spoiled. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. We are so close to 100 subscribers on this channel. It is crazy. For 100 subscribers, we're going to be doing a hot dog eating contest on our live stream or as a later video. We don't know for sure yet, but we will be doing it. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the video so you can see when that goes live. And then you can also follow us everywhere on social media at Reel Watchers. That's REEL Watchers. Pretty much everywhere. Again, Movie Club episodes go live every Friday. We have our streams, as we said, kind of mentioned earlier, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and other videos that happen to go live. So make sure you're subscribed to catch those as well. Again, thank you so much for watching, and make sure until next time, keep your eyes on the screen.